Hello and welcome back to Hola English with Greg. In today's lesson, I'm going to give you my top 5 pieces of advice to help you improve your listening skills in English. I speak to many students and they always tell me that listening and understanding native speakers is one of the most difficult things in a foreign language. And I think this is for 3 main reasons. Firstly, they use expressions and native ways of saying things that you don't necessarily learn at school or in your classes. Secondly, their pronunciation just isn't like your teacher's. And third, they speak too quickly. Slow down. So in this lesson, I'm going to give you my best advice to help you get over this problem and start understanding English native speakers a little bit more easily. Are you ready? Okay, I'm Greg from onlinelanguageacademy.com. We teach conversational English via Skype to students all over the world to help them gain fluency and confidence in spoken English. If that's what you want, then click up there and try a class. Okay, and all these students that we have always tell me the same thing. I need to communicate more easily. Yes, I need to speak more fluently, and I also need to understand native speakers when they're speaking to me because it's important in my job. I go to England and I can't understand anybody when they're speaking to me. And okay, calm down. There is something you can do about it, okay? So let's have a look at the 5 things I want you to do in order to improve your listening skills in English. First is learn connected speech. All right, connected speech. I did a video on one small aspect of connected speech. You can watch that video up there. And I talked about the use of the intrusive R and the linking R, just to help us speak more clearly and more fluently, to make it easier for us, for native speakers, to speak. One example of this is Donna and her mother. Donna and her mother. We put an imaginary R between the 2 words to help us speak more fluently. Right, I'm not going to talk about connected speech in this video, but I think it is really important to learn these little linking techniques that native speakers use to make it easier for us to speak, so that when you're listening, you know what to expect. I've said simple expressions, simple sentences to my students sometimes, and they haven't understood me, simply because, using that example, they've understood the word Donna, but they think the next word is rand. And they think, rand? Rand? What's rand? No, I'm not talking about the currency, I'm saying Donna but I'm linking the words with this intrusive R. There are many techniques that we use in English, and I want you to learn them so that you know what to expect when you're listening to native English speakers talking. The second thing I want you to do is listen to music in English. Now, I'm sure you already do this, right? I mean, English and American music is so international that I'm sure in your country you listen to English songs all the time on the radio. A lot of students watch an entire film in English with subtitles, and I don't really find that too helpful to improve your listening skills. Yeah, it feels good, right? When you watch a movie in English and you understand it, you feel good, sure. But I want to focus on smaller parts of English. I want you to find your favorite songs in English and actually listen to them while reading the lyrics. Okay, while reading the words. Listen to it. Listen to how the singers actually pronounce what they're singing. Music is such an effective way of learning how native English speakers really speak. And it's the best way to hear the rhythm, and also to hear how we link words into one another. I've been teaching English for about 15 years now, and I can tell you that the students with the best pronunciation are not the students who've lived in England. They're the students who've learned English by listening to music. Honestly. And it's such an easy thing to do. I'm sure your favourite song in English is 3 or 4 minutes. Just listen to it, learning the lyrics, and imitating exactly how the singer sings the song. Alright? And then you're walking around the house, you're driving your car, and you're singing the song with a perfect English pronunciation that you can then transition into your spoken English. And when native English speakers are speaking to you, surprise, surprise, you're going to understand it. You're going to recognise the words, recognise the sounds, and you're going to understand it. Number 3 is to not learn words in English. Don't learn words in English. Learn phrases. If you just focus on single words in English, then when people are speaking to you, it's kind of natural that you translate every word that you know. It's quite an ineffective way of learning a language. And a much more effective way is to learn groups of words, or chunks, and both use them when you're speaking English and recognize them when people speak to you. Alright, a couple of examples of chunks are, do you know if? Alright, and it's important to learn the real pronunciation of this. Listen to how we actually pronounce it. Do you know if? Do you know if? Do you know if? Do you know if it's going to be hot tomorrow? Do you know if John's going to the party? Do you know if they're working in Spain tomorrow? Learn the group of words, and then you'll recognise it when people say it to you, and you won't have to worry about understanding that part of the sentence. For example, if someone says to you, do you know if Sandra's going to the party tomorrow? You understand do you know if? That's a chunk that you've already learned. Do you know if? You recognise it. You don't worry about it. And then you understand Sandra, party, tomorrow. Alright, hey, even if you don't understand every single word in the sentence, you get the idea and you understand the meaning of that sentence. Learn chunks, not words. The fourth thing I want you to do is listen to a podcast or watch YouTube videos on a topic that is something that you generally talk about. Let's imagine you work in IT, in a computer company. If you're using your English every day to talk about computers, to talk about software or app development, watch English YouTube videos or listen to English podcasts about technology. First of all, it's something that interests you, so you're going to actually want to listen to it. I love listening to entrepreneurial podcasts because it really interests me. It's not, I don't feel like, I've got to listen to this entrepreneurial podcast tomorrow. Ugh. No, I really enjoy it. I listen to it and I walk around the house listening to it. I listen to it when I'm driving my car. I listen to it while I'm eating breakfast. And it's interesting for me, so I pay attention. If you're doing this in English, it's also a great exercise for you to not focus on understanding every single word in the sentence. That's not important. It's a great exercise for you to pick out the most important words and try to get a general idea of what they're talking about. Yes, native speakers speak quickly. Teachers will often speak a little bit more slowly, perhaps, or maybe more easier to understand. But if you go to central London and you're speaking to someone there who has never ever spoken to a foreigner before, then they might speak incredibly quickly. So it's great practice for you to listen to something that's interesting for you at full speed in English in a podcast or a YouTube video. And finally, the fifth thing I want you to do is focus a bit more on informal English and slang and common expressions that we always use but they don't teach you in the textbooks. Let me give you an example of this. So, you might know my wife is Spanish, and when we first started going out, I took her to England to visit my family and my friends, and doing that in a foreign language, it's, you know, she was probably a bit nervous, and she was thinking, all right, I've got to make sure my English is the best it can be for this moment. And I remember introducing her to one of my best friends, and I introduced them, and my friend said to her, "How's tricks?" "How's tricks?" That was the first thing he said to her, and she was like, "What? How's tricks?" Of course, how's tricks simply means how are you in English, but in an informal English. Obviously, it's slang. And immediately she felt like, whoa, I'm not going to understand this guy at all. You know, she lost all confidence in her English. She thought, what am I doing? I don't understand any English at all. Yes, my friend probably should have said, "How are you?" or something more understandable for a non-native speaker, but it's also a great idea for you to learn informal slang English to help you understand native speakers more easily and not get lost in a conversation just because somebody's used a really, really informal word that you never learn in textbooks or in typical English classes in your country. Alright, so these are 5 things that you can do starting now. You can do all these things. You can take action to improve your listening skills in English. It's not going to happen from one day to the next, but they're also not very difficult things to do. Learning slang is fun. I loved learning slang in different languages. Listening to podcasts that you enjoy, that's fun. It's interesting. Listening to short YouTube videos or songs that you love and learning the words, that's fun. Alright, and then learning phrases that you're going to hear all the time on TV, on YouTube, in songs, and also learning the linking sounds between words in English. These are such effective practices to help you improve your English that you're going to see results, and it's going to make you feel great about yourself, and you'll realize that you're soon going to start to understand English more easily than you did before. So take action. There are a couple of videos I want you to watch next. That one on linking sounds in English, and that one is an interview I did in which we discussed 17 things you can do to improve your listening skills in English. So watch those, and I'll see you in the next class. Have a great week. Bye for now.